What up, guys? This is Zach from Flash Out Media. I'm with Harley. You know what I'm saying? We're here to break down all the fights they have this weekend. This is just an early prediction, on the UFC card, and we'll let y'all know what's coming up this weekend. We have UFC Nunes versus Aldana. We got Josh Taylor versus Tiafimo. We got the PFL tonight, and we got BKFC. I mean, there's list goes on and on. Before we get into it, Harley, you got anything for the viewers?
Nah, not really, man. Like I said, we got a lot of fights coming up. Bare knuckle, multiple boxing cards, PFL, UFC, uh, probably street beats too. We got a little
Yeah.
bit of everything. But yeah, we've been out for a couple of days, so look, we're gonna run down the whole schedule for y'all, man. Let's get it.
Yep, and all we do is ask that you like the video, subscribe to our content, and comment your opinions on the fights coming up, man. So first card we'll break down is UFC 289 Nunez versus Aldana, and we'll start off with the main event. We have Nunez, she avenged her rematch versus Pena. Looked pretty good doing it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people had doubts. Is she still hungry? Does she still want this? How does she look off of the loss? And she answered all those. We have Aldana, who, had a tough fight with Macy Chasson and ended up, pulling through. Before that, beat Yana Santos. And then before that, dropped a decision loss to Holly Holm. To me, this is a very similar fight to when Valentina fought what's the champ's name?
Grasso?
Grasso, very similar fight. Shevchenko was really good, but if she makes a mistake, Grasso is not good enough to, take advantage of it. And I think if Nunes makes a mistake, Aldana is good enough to take advantage of it. With that being said, I think Nunes is very well aware of that, and she's going to probably get a competitive decision victory. But I think she wins the majority of rounds here and gets the job done.
Yeah, no, I agree. There are levels to this, and you know, um, Amanda lost her first fight to Pena, which was very shocking. So she is beatable. Um, we seen it happen, and I do think Amanda gonna win this fight. I really do, but I think a lot of people are sleeping on Aldana, man. I agree on everything you said. Aldana, dude, I don't know how many people are really familiar with her as far as like the casual fan. You know, a lot of people are looking at this and saying that you know Aldana is taking this fight on short notice. Um, maybe she's not ready to listen to me. Irene Aldana has a great skill set. She's a good striker. Come forward. Um, she's pretty well rounded as well. So look, like I said, I think I think Nunez will get the job done, but I'm definitely not sleeping on Aldana. You got me thinking of Grasso now that you brought her up. But yeah, I'm not sleeping on Aldana, but I like Nunez to get it done.
All right. So, what people are calling the real main event of this card, we have Charles Oliveira taking on Benel Dariush. If Dariush wins, they made it very vocal that he's probably going to get the title shot. When we're looking at a guy like Oliveira, he does really good against guys who are really scared of going to the ground with him. You know, he's in their head already. I think with Dariush, he's very fearless when it comes to the ground. I mean, you've seen him fight a guy like Gamrot, who's very, very good on the ground and relentless, maybe just as relentless as Oliveira when it comes to, constant one that get to the ground. And Dariush passed that test with flying colors. Oliveira's path here is just like all his other fights. He has to get it done early. The longer it goes, the better for Dariush. I gotta go with Dariush on this one, man. I think he has the more well-rounded skill set, and I just think it's his time, man.
Yeah, I believe both guys are really well rounded. Actually, you got two guys that have legitimate ground game. Both can strike. You know, over the course of Oliveira's UFC career, we've seen him get much better in the striking department as well. But I do agree. Uh, Darius, a guy that his bread and butter is on the ground. You know, I think both guys are the most comfortable around. So with that being said, I think it'll kind of cancel out, and I agree. You know, a lot of people go in there with that mentality of, oh, I can't let it get to the ground. Though you just gonna, I don't want to say thrive in that situation because Oliveira does have a legitimate ground game as well, but he's definitely not gonna shy away from it. You know, if he goes to the ground, he's more than capable of getting it done on the ground. Uh, so yeah, I think this is a fight that can truly go either way. If I had to lean towards somebody, I would probably, I, I guess Dariush because Dariush is, you know, just a little hotter right now. But man, I don't know. It's a fight that I really got to dig a little bit deeper into. But I'm gonna say for now Dariush, but that could change for me.
All right. So next fight we have going down towards the card, we have Mike Mallet. They're having this fight in Canada. He's Canadian. He's on a hot streak. He's 2-0 in the UFC, and none of his fights, including his losses, have went past the first round. He's taking on Adam Fugit, a guy we're real familiar with. He played spoiler on one of our guys, Kinoshita, and looked very damn good, knocking this guy out from Mount. Before that, had a tough debut versus Michael Morales, but had a good first round doing it. Man, this is a tricky fight because a lot of people are going to be big on Mallet, which, you should. He's probably one of the heavy favorites, but don't sleep on Fugit. We made that mistake already, and it came back to bite us. Fugit is a guy who has some wrestling and he does have power. And Mallet is a guy who hasn't been past the first round. With that being said, I gotta go with Mallet on this one. Even though he hasn't been out the first round, he was a former coach at Team Alpha Male, so his IQ is up there. I think he's just been doing what he's supposed to, getting these guys out of here, and just has that killer instinct to finish fights.
Yeah, man. If I had to lean towards the guy right now, it would be Mallet, but I agree. You know, Adam Fugit always comes to fight. I hope I didn't butcher his last name. Fugit. Oh, yeah, he always comes to fight. You know, like you said, he played spoiler first in the past. This is a fight on the card that I think a lot of people, excuse me, that I think a lot of people are sleeping on, man. But if I had to lean towards the guy, it would be Mike Mallet. You know, he's on a hot streak, 2-0 right now, and I just think, he's in Canada, got the home crowd behind him. It's a fight that on paper he should win, and I look forward for him to stay on that hot streak and see what he can do, man. Climbing the ranks.
Absolutely. Next fight, man, I'm already calling it fight of the night. Dan Ige versus Nate the Train, Nate Ladware. Man, honestly, this is probably as close as it gets when it comes to picking a fight. Ige has fought the better competition, has beat better competition. Nate, when he does take that step up, he showed, versus Julian Erosa, and there's one other guy he lost to. Let's see who he lost. Julie Rosa, Herbert Burns was a tough loss. He probably should have beat him, but if we're looking at their records, their resumes, Ige has beat the better guys. He's lost to better guys, and I think he's just gonna have that edge over Ladner, but it's gonna be a dogfight. Nate's gonna be in there to the final bell. Nate does get touched a lot too, as well. That's something to keep in mind. Both guys have chins though. Fight of the night for sure. Could go either way, but I'm leaning towards Ige.
Yeah, man, I'm leaning towards, and this is crazy because who I want to win is Nate the Train. Who I'm leaning towards right now is Dan Ige. This is a fight that I gotta look into a little bit more. I'm gonna go with Dan Ige just off of his experience, and I think a lot of both guys have a lot of similarities. You know, they both tough, both come forward, both have legitimate chins and stay in the fight. I think Ige's experience is gonna give him a slight edge in this one, but I'm gonna look more into it. Don't sleep on Nate the Train. It's gonna be a good fight right there.
For sure, fight of the night. Next one, the one that's opening up the main card. Another exciting matchup. Eric Anders taking on Mark Andre Barrio. Barrio known for having very good cardio, very durable. Made the switch to Kill Cliff. Looked good ever since. Anders known for being a former collegiate, football player. Very athletic, crazy power, crazy strength. Um, It's really gonna be if Mark Andre Barrios can weather the first round and then pick it up round two and three like he usually does. And it's gonna be if Eric Anders can get them out of there, just overpower their guy. I gotta go with Barrios on this one. Second, third round, TKO over Eric Anders.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything you said. And I don't want to spoil anything, but this is the pick I'll probably stay with. Um, I like Marc Andre Barrios. Like you said, Eric Anderson is a guy super explosive. Got that football background. Got legitimate power. He comes out strong, hard. Pushing the pace and putting a lot of pressure on you. And you're gonna have to weather the storm when you fight him. With that being said, I think um, Barrios just too much of a veteran. I think he's been around long enough to keep his wherewithal and weather that storm. And once he's able to do it, I think he'll be able to, kind of I don't want to say wear Anders down because I think Anders will still be in the fight, but kind of just take over after he kind of blows his gas tank um, in the first part of the fight. So yeah, I like uh, I like Mark Andre Barrios, but hey, a guy like Anders, don't sleep on him. You never know. He's always live for a finish.
No, all right, moving up the card, we have Nasruddin Imavov taking on Chris Curtis. Another very good matchup. With Imavov, you look at his record, he started very good in the UFC. He was on a three-fight win streak. Ian Heinisch, Edmund Shabazian, Joaquin Buckley. Shabazian was a good win at the time. Buckley was a good win at the time. We've seen Shabazian kind of that win not age well. We've seen Buckley really see that he's really a 170er. And he took a fight with Sean Strickland on like maybe a couple of days' notice, ended up dropping it, right? He starts off fast, but does tend to gas a little bit. A guy like Chris Curtis, man, is quite the opposite. He will start off a little slower, make his reads, and then once he has his reads, he'll hop on you in round two and three. He's been very busy. Lost versus Kevin Gastelum, very close. Knocked out Buckley. Lost versus Hermanson, very close. I gotta go with Curtis on this one, but it will be a very close fight. It all depends on how good Imavov's gas tank is. If he's lacking, man, Chris Curtis is gonna pick him apart round two and three. So I gotta go with Curtis on this one.
Yeah, then just looking at the card, before we do these early predictions, I just glanced over the card, and just looking at it, this was another fight that I was kind of up in the air with, man. We know what Chris Curtis can do. He's got a good gas tank. He got good striking. You know, like you mentioned, he's been very busy. But he was in a dog fight. I want to say shoot just over a month ago against Gaslam. Um, so I think that could play a factor as well. Will it be a two? I mean, he didn't take a ton of damage in that fight, but I mean, it was a high level fight. Um, that's something that I kind of looked into as well. Right now, I'm gonna go with Curtis, but this is a fight that could change. A prediction that could change for me. But I like Curtis's striking. I think if he can get past the first round and kind of wear on him involved and like you said, kind of test his gas tank, I think he'll be able to get it done. But again, this is just my early take. Could change this one.
All right, moving. I almost said up the card, down the card. Jasmine Jitovic taking on Miranda Maverick. This is a real tricky fight. I know a lot of people are gonna want to pick Miranda Maverick, which I'm picking Miranda Maverick to win.
Yeah.
But you
Mm-hmm.
know, Judah Vicious is a pretty decent wrestler. Miranda Maverick did have issues with wrestling in the past. Aaron Blanchard was able to take her down and do what she wanted. Um, there was another girl that she fought. Who was it? Macy Barber. Macy Barber was able to put her against the fence, stuff like that, and slow her down. That's the way to beat Miranda Maverick. But I think Miranda Maverick is better. A lot better than those losses. And I think this is going to be a good test to fight a good wrestler like Judah Vicious and get the job done in her hometown. So Miranda Maverick, decision victory on this one.
Yeah, I agree. I like Maverick. Like you said, the key can she neutralize the wrestling if she can. I think she'll be able to outstrike the Judah Vicious on the way to victory. We'll see. But so far, I like Maverick in this.
No doubt, no doubt.
Wow.
All right, next fight we have Ayman Zahabi taking on Corey Lang. Zahabi, known as Firas Zahabi's little brother, and Corey Lang. This is like one of the guys I really don't know too much about, so definitely gonna have to take a deeper dive on this one. Just looking at his record, he losses to Jeff Molina, Cody Durnan. Both those guys are decent wrestlers, grapplers, and have okay stand up. His wins over Cameron Ellis, Jay Perrin, both of those guys are out the UFC already. We look at Ayman Zahabi's record. He beat Pretty Ricky in a fight that we picked Ricky to win. Beat Draco Rodriguez, lost to Vince Morales, Ricardo Ramos. Both those guys are decent. So just looking at their resumes, I have to pick Ayman Zahabi on this one over a Corey Lane, probably by decision. He is from Canada. The fight's in Canada, so I can see that happening.
I agree. Off experience, resume, and his brother, obviously in the game as well. Yeah, I like Shahadi.
All right. Moving more down the card, we have Blake Builder. He did pretty good for us last time he fought. Taking on Kyle Nelson, man. Kyle Nelson, I want to say he's 1-4-1 in the UFC. His last fight was a draw to Dooho Choi. And if you look at his losses, man, Jai Herbert, Billy Q, Matt Sells, Diego Ferreira, all those guys are dogs, man. He does have a win in the UFC. And if you look at Blake Builder's last fight, he beat kind of a similar guy, like a vet, like Shane Young. Um, I don't know though, man. Something's telling me Kyle Nelson's gonna get the win in this one. I think
Um,
I think Builder has been fighting guys that he should beat up until he beat Shane Young. But Shane Young doesn't have the best resume in the UFC. He's coming off a long layoff. I think Kyle Nelson being active, having at least 5 UFC fights, is going to be one of these tricky fights where the guy who ain't supposed to win gets the decision
yeah,
victory. Builder had a close fight with Young, so I'm going with Kyle Nelson on this one.
yeah. I think this one could be a little tricky, but I like Builder. Just looking at it, I like Builder, but I hear what you're saying. Fighting out is 1-4-1 in the UFC. People sleeping on him might not be giving him the respect he deserves. You know, uh, he didn't have a good UFC record, obviously, but he lost to some really solid opposition. But I like Griffin. I like his style. I like what he brings to the table. I think he'll be able to get it done. But who knows? Could be a tricky fight.
No doubt. All right, moving more down the card. David Dvorak taking on Steve Ursig. Ursig taking on this fight, like I want to say 2 weeks notice, maybe 1 week's notice. He might have been supposed to be on the contender series. I'm not sure, but Ursig, very good grappler, not so much stand up. Dvorak, fought some of the best at 125, and it took him to close fights. This is probably one of the biggest locks for me, David Dvorak. Probably getting the decision victory on this one.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna go with David Dvorak, and I think now I'm not gonna be, who knows, but I'm not gonna predict this, but I think there's a chance that he could get a stoppage victory as well. I like Dvorak in this one. I do.
All right, Deanna Belbita taking on Maria Oliveira. This is gonna be a fun fight.
Maria,
Belbita does have, a karate background. She does have kickboxing background. And Maria Oliveira is just one of those athletes where, I'm pretty sure she hasn't even been training that long. They just decided to stick her in there. I mean, she's long, she's rangy, she has good striking. The way to beat Maria Oliveira is to take her down and hold her down. I don't think Belbita is going to be able to do that, and I see Maria probably winning a decision on this one.
yeah, I agree. Her length, her striking, she's long, very ready striker. I think that'll be the difference to get a decision.
All right, and that is, our early predictions on UFC 289. We did touch on it at the beginning of the show. We have PFL tonight. Looking at, let's say, the main card, we have Brandon Loughnane, their 145 champ. He's taking on Jesus Pinedo. We have Tyler Diamond. He was former tough guy. taking on Mulvid Kabalov. Kabalov, if you don't know him, is he knocked out Damon Jackson in like 10, 20 seconds with a flying knee. Went viral probably like 2, 3 years ago. Very good guy. Would be top 15 at 145 in the UFC. Keep your eyes on that guy. Other guys you might know, Bubba Jenkins, very good wrestler. He's taking on Sun Big
Bubba's really
Joe.
good.
Josh Silveira, another guy at 205 to keep your eyes on. We have Marlon Moraes on the undercard. He's fighting a guy, Gabriel Braga, undefeated. Dan Spawn, he was on the Ultimate Fighter. Chris Wade, former UFC vet, on there as well. Impa Casagne, he's the guy who got, spinning sidekick knocked out by Joaquin Buckley. He has a couple UFC fights. He's on there. Andrew Sanchez, former Ultimate Fighter winner. He's on there as well. And they have another guy, Alexi Progrande. Might be butchering his name. He's only 2-0 right now, but he has a lot of hype behind his name. He's the first fight on the card. So a very, a good card for PFL to put together on a Thursday night. Will you be tuning in tonight?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not gonna say that I'll be locked in, but yeah, I'll definitely be keeping an eye on it and see what happens.
No doubt, no doubt. Two guys to keep your eyes on and probably will fight each other. It is a tournament format. Brendan Loughnane, he's been running through people. He's the champ from last season. And we have Kabalov. These guys are on a collision course towards each other, and hopefully we get to see that fight. So, the next, probably honestly, I would probably say is second biggest fight of this whole week. You can argue that it's the biggest fight of this week. Josh Taylor versus Tiafimo.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
let you go first, man. What you think about this fight?
Oh, excuse me. Lord, I got a bunch of frogs in my throat today. With that being said, yeah, really good fight. A lot of people are sleeping on this fight, man. I think, just my personal opinion, I think it's a pay-per-view caliber fight. I don't know what you think, Zach, but I really do.
Definitely.
Um, but it's live and free on ESPN. That makes it even better. Um, with that being said, man, two guys. You got Josh Taylor. The guy comes forward, he wears you down, gritty. He's in your face, wants to get inside, wants to make it rough and tough. Fighting Teofimo Lopez, he can do it as well, but he's a little more flashy. He's a little more. Uh, he he can do it, but he wants to box a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Work his angle. Josh Taylor, the guy wants to come forward, wants to make it nasty, wants to get inside and make it a war. Uh, with that being said, I think the more, can I say this? The more talented fighter overall is Teofimo, but the guy I think is gonna win is Josh Taylor, man. Um, I think Josh Taylor gets it done. I think Teofimo uh just has too many things going on right now in his personal life. Um, you know, he's very talented. He's a fighter that can make some noise at any time. But with that being said, I just think Josh Taylor is more hungry, more focused, more dedicated. And I think that rough and tough style is going to really cause problems for Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah, man. The interesting thing about this fight, I feel both guys lost their last fight. You know what I'm saying? Josh Taylor, I
Yeah,
feel lost his last fight for sure.
I
And
agree.
Timo, I feel like lost his fight against Martin. Um, Real interesting that they're now fighting each other for a belt. It's a very good fight. Both guys have big names. They have impressive resumes. Tiafimo's hit or miss. Josh Taylor, you know what you're getting with him. If the Tiafimo shows up that we know, that always gets the knockout, does a dance after, the Tiafimo that beat Lomachenko, he'll probably he'll probably get the victory, decision. If Josh Taylor, does what he's supposed to while Tiafimo's lacking, Josh Taylor will get the victory. So yeah, that's what I got. So moving up the card with the Tiafimo and Josh Taylor fight, you know what I'm saying? We got some good prospects on the card. ESPN usually put some guys that are up on their way. Co-main event action, we got Xander Zayevs. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his name. He's taking on Ronald Cruz. Zayas is a guy from Cuba. I've seen him fight before.
Yeah,
Um,
Xander Zayas. Yeah.
yeah, very good boxer, very good puncher, and one of these guys who kind of embraces that Cuban style. Um, are you familiar with him?
Oh, Xander? Yeah, yeah, very familiar with him.
You know,
Oh,
co-main event slot that I think, rightfully earned, and I think more people are gonna learn about him as well.
yeah, man. He's been one of the top ranked I don't want to say top guys for a while, but a guy that they want to promote, a guy that they're high on. You know, if you watch um really any top ranked cards over the last few years, if you don't see him fight, you at least hear his name being mentioned. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he trained with Freddie Roach, if I can remember correctly. Um,
He
but
is also
yeah,
from Puerto Rico, not Cuba, Puerto Rico.
yeah.
Look at that.
But Xander's a good fighter, man. Good boxer. You know, slick boxer. But he's got I don't want to say he's got legit power, but he's got enough pop to hurt you. You know, he can put the combinations together and get you out of there if need be. But yeah, I like Xander, man. I like you said, um, very well deserving of this coming in this spot on this big card right here.
All right, another guy we got is Omar Rosario, also from Puerto Rico, 10-0, taking on a guy 8-1. This seems to be a little bit of a step up for him, but also a platform at the same time. Are you familiar with Omar Rosario?
The name sounds familiar, but I don't know if I've seen him, man. To be honest.
Yeah, just looking at his record, I don't recall me seeing him, but very excited to see what he can do. A familiar name we have Bruce Carrington, 7-0. He's taking that guy 16-6. Bruce Carrington, I want to say majority of his wins are by KO or TKO pretty early on, so keep an eye out for him. Robson Canseco from Brazil, he's fighting Nicholas Polanco. That should be a pretty decent fight at 130. I think Robson fought for a belt versus Shakira. He might have had a belt. And Polanco, I want to say, fought for a belt maybe. But that's on the undercard. Henry LeBron, also from Puerto Rico. They're stacking these guys from Puerto Rico, man. Is Berlanga still with them with Top Rank?
Oh,
Because I seen him fighting, I think, on the zone for his next fight.
yeah, I don't know, and I wanted to check on that, man.
Yeah.
That if he is with Top Rank, that's kind of strange if he's fighting on his own. So he might not be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he's fighting on the zone, he must not be with Top Rank. But seeing like getting these guys from Puerto Rico, interesting. Jermaine Ortiz, he fought Lomachenko. He's fighting on the undercard. And then first fight, we have a guy 11-0 fighting a guy 9-5, Damian Kinba. I haven't heard of him as well. So a decent undercard, good prospects to watch. Josh Taylor, Tiafimo, very good fight. We don't know what we're gonna get with Tiafimo, so real interesting. Winner out of Josh Taylor and Tiafimo, what you see for him at 140?
Man, I see they can fight Regis Progress.
Yep. I know Haney is gonna be ringside for Regis's fight. I don't know if that's a negotiation tactic or what, but let's say they were to make Haney and Regis, they are to make Ryan and Rolly. You know, that kind of leaves things wide open for the winner of this fight.
Or what they can do is the winner of this fight the winner of Regis and Hayes.
Yeah.
They could go that route as well.
Well, that
Um,
that would take quite a while though. That's the only thing.
yeah. Um, but hey, if they want to go Regis and Haney, I'm here for it. That's a good fight. Very good fight.
Yep, yep. All right.
But
So
before we move on though, I just want to reiterate to the fans, man. I don't know how many of you guys legitimately watch boxing. You know, we for the majority of our podcast, and this is we've covered MMA. But guys, if you're not familiar with boxing or if you're just a casual boxing fan, you know, things of that nature, this is the fight you certainly need to tune into, man. Like I mentioned
definitely.
before we brought this up, to me, this is a pay-per-view caliber fight, live and free on ESPN. It don't get much better than this, man. So two former world champions going at it. Very good.
Do you think we have Nunez and Aldana, and then you have Taylor versus Tiafimo. All right, which one you think is a better caliber main event? Not whole card, just main event.
Taylor versus Tiafimo.
I think so too, bro. That's why I'm like, this might be a bigger main event. I'm not gonna say card because UFC got Oliveira and Dariush.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what did it for them. But both are on ESPN, so I mean, they're kind of killing the combat sports game right now. That's two really good fights that you have on the streaming service. Um, Next, one thing I didn't mention as well. I mean, this is an action-packed weekend of fights. We have ONE FC also putting on a card. Main event. I'm not too familiar with this guys, but the 170 title is on the line. We have Region Aerosol taking on Dimitri. I'm not gonna even try to pronounce his last name, but some familiar names that I see on there. Cade Rotolo, some of the best grapplers out there. He's doing a super fight. Um, who else we have? Nikki Holton, very good kickboxer, been around forever. Always puts on exciting fights. So they might not have the biggest names on his cards, but I could tell you from my experience watching one, those fights usually are some of the best fights, man. And they mix in grappling, and mix in Muay Thai, and mix in, MMA. So if you can, I'm sure it's going to be at a later time, for people out in Asia, but definitely tune into these fights. ONE FC, man, do you see them making a splash, trying to be the number two promotion, or do you already see them being the number two promotion?
I don't think they're the number two promotion yet, just because they're not very big out here in
Right.
America. But I think if they keep on this trajectory, they can absolutely. They just need to come here more often, you know. And I think if they do get our fans familiar with their promotion and their product, man, it's very unique. Um, Unlike any other promotion out there, you know. Which I kind of like that though. They do their own thing. They kind of it's a little different, but it's still a good product. Still, legitimate fights with really good, talented fighters. Um, if I'm not mistaken, don't they do kickboxing matches as well, stuff like that?
Yeah, kickboxing, Muay Thai.
Yeah. So they
They do it
they
all.
do it all, man. It's hard to find that nowadays. You know, so you get if you like combat sports, you get a little taste of everything when it comes to ONE FC. Like
Definitely.
that.
And one thing is like how many times has the UFC been to Asia? Only a handful of times. I think ONE FC is probably the biggest promotion out there. And that's one thing Bellator and PFL can't say. In their region, they're not the biggest. It's always gonna be the UFC. Out there, ONE FC can make a very good argument that they're the biggest in their region. So I think that's what would put me ONE FC number two if I was to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I really hope and I think they're looking to do this. I really hope that they come out here more often because it's something that I watched a lot of ONE FC? No, just for the simple fact that it's the time zones are so out of whack. But I'm very intrigued to watch it. I
Right.
want to watch it. So if they come out here more often, I definitely will be tuning in. So yeah,
Hell yeah. And the two last fight cards that we have for this weekend, we have Broner versus Hutchinson. We got Rigondeaux on the undercard. Broner, always a fun guy in the media and all that. He should do what he's
yeah,
supposed to in this fight. Rigondeaux as well. We also have a BKFC Friday. We have Cal Stewart taking on Louis Lopez for the 145 belt. This is in Montana. Usually, what BKFC does is put a lot of guys from that area on the card, and it's loaded with guys from Montana. You got guys like Lloyd Mix, who fought Bellator back in the day. He's the co-main event. So another guy on here, let me see if I could find his name. Bryce Henry, man. I seen Bryce Henry fight probably 2 months ago. He's one of these guys in BKFC who actually has a pro boxing resume, undefeated, and just chose to do BKFC. He's very young. Keep your eyes on that guy for sure. But yeah, action-packed weekend, man. Tonight we got PFL. Tomorrow we got BKFC, 1FC. Saturday we get UFC 289 and Tiafimo versus Taylor, man. How much better can it get, dog?
As far as combat sports, it don't get much better. All I'm saying that'd be better is if Poirier versus Gaethje would be the UFC card on top of the Teofimo Lopez. But I mean, hell, that weekend you get freaking Spencer Crawford. So I mean,
Yeah, I
dude,
mean,
I mean,
yeah,
combat sports is rolling right now, man, and all phases. It's good to see.
absolutely. So last thing we'll exit out with is, fights that they have made in the last couple of days. We have Ignacio Bahamondes taking on Ludovic Klein. That's a good fight. OSP taking on Ion Cutelaba for August 5th. Uh, let's see. Marcus McGahee taking on Gaston Bolanos, August 12th. Very good fight. Billy Quarantillo taking on Damon Jackson, August 5th. Very good fight. Chris Wyman taking on Brad Tavares. Wyman coming
Oh,
off that
that's a good
broken
fight
leg.
too.
Yeah, that's an interesting fight, man. A lot of people don't come the same off an injury like that, so it'll be interesting. It's been quite a while. Um, but yeah, that's all the fights announced for UFC.
Did
Uh,
they did they didn't officially announce Usman yet, right?
no, no, but I know they have Pavlich versus Jones. They're rumoring that pretty heavy right now.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
I don't know if it's negotiation tactics to get Stipe to sign or whatnot. And like you said, they have Usman and Khamzat, rumored pretty heavy right now. So
Yeah.
hopefully we can see those get official. But if not, man, the UFC is coming with some heat right now. Boxing's making good fights. It's real exciting time to be a fight fan. Before we exit, Harley got anything for the viewers?
No, man, like we always say, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow for a full breakdowns and predictions for all of the fights. Leave your comments below. Smash the like button, please. Even if you don't watch the video, just smash the like button. It helps us spread the pod and grow this thing. So anything you guys can do to help, please do. Leave your comments below and let us know what you think. Until tomorrow, peace.